were first introduced as the Siesta Sisters. Oh yes, in the original translation. So for a while, I couldn't stop calling them the Siesta Sisters. Also roasting Kinzo. Imagine it was like, you're an old man, you're still crying over me. Get over it. Beatrice. Okay, that's over now for that. Alright, let's keep reading. Yes. That's from Nostalgia Critic, right? Because he always goes, fucking bunnies! Or something. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen that guy. Because of all that fallout and everything. The guest house lobby was wrapped in silence. The strings of tension binding Kraus, Natsuki, and Ava had already loosened, and they were completely worn out with their minds beginning to waver. Every once in a while, they would stand up to walk around pointlessly, as though fighting their drowsiness. I don't remember. Are you okay, Ava? Please, do not take it easy and rest. Wait, oops, by that! Booney. Boonui. Boonui. Booney. I'm sorry. Booney. Okay, Booney. Boonays. Boonayanese. I'm sorry. Okay. But I messed up. Anyway. Let's get my serious on. Let's drink some tea first. Alright. Getting myself straightened up. Another Ava Natsuhi moment. Okay. Are you okay, Ava? Please do take it easy and rest. I told you I'm fine. The three of us are now the only adults. There's no time to rest. No matter what the cost, we must guard this place until the end. She spoke bravely, but she couldn't hide her rough breathing. It seemed that fever, which had calmed with medicine for a short time, had returned. It was very obvious that Ava's health was not good. Take it easy. At least close your eyes. If something happens that you need to be awake for, we will definitely wake you. I'm telling you I'm fine. Leave me alone. It seemed she was already unwilling to budge. Kraus and Natsuki realized that even if they talked to her any more than she was like this, it wouldn't reach her ears. So without saying any more, they decided to let her be. To Ava right now, even having an argument like that would be burdensome. It'd probably be better for her body if she just sat there with her mouth closed. In truth, Ava was just a step away from being beaten down by drowsiness. Perhaps she shot back at them with a temper because she was trying to rouse herself and throw off her sleepiness. The clock would be pointing to 6 in the afternoon very soon, so she had several snacks to distract herself from her drowsiness so she didn't feel hungry. But now her lack of sleep made it feel like it was 6 in the morning, not the afternoon. Even supposing the boat came at precisely 9 tomorrow, they still had more than 12 hours to go. It was an overwhelmingly long stretch of time. Long, painful, hot. Even the sound of the clock torments my body now. In times like this, when that person puts his hand on my forehead, the fever fades at once, but that person no longer exists. As Ava's mind grew foggy, she was once again gripped by a deep sadness. She had already cried herself dry. Even so, the sadness of losing her beloved husband had not been exhausted. I was wrong. What do you mean? The new witch and Ava were fundamentally the same being. If Ava talked to her, she would always respond. I thought that if I could gain the position of the Ushiromiya family head, that alone would be enough. But then as soon as I saw that mountain of gold, my greed grew. I was struck by a desire to have the mountain all to myself. That's nothing to be ashamed of. After all, it's your natural right as the Ushiromiya family head. How could you give up even a bit of it to anyone else? I was gripped by that temptation, which is why you were born. while you are a young girl version of me. At the same time, you are also my self-centered evil heart. Because of my foolish greed sprouted by that mountain of gold, the shell of the egg that is my heart cracked, and you were born into this world. I am responsible for your birth.
In that case, when I killed Rosa and Maria, and then Rudolph and Kiria and Hideyoshi, you were responsible for that too.
Why did you kill my husband too? Why? Ah!
I didn't want to kill Hideyoshi. He was just so annoying and persistent. And that's your fault. It's your fault for choosing a husband like that.
A child like you cannot understand what made that man so wonderful. Dear.
What the heck? Our dreams are made with real and magic, right? We solved the riddle of the epitaph, and we found the gold and got the head's ring. All of our dreams came fully true, right? What more could you want?
Those weren't all of my dreams. What about living a wonderful life with that person and giving George an excellent life? I still have many dreams that still haven't come true. As a wife, as a mother, and yet,
those are just extra dreams you added after becoming an adult. They aren't my dreams.
That's because you're a child. You only care about what's best for yourself. That's right. Everything is my fault. Back then, why did I resist doing what Rosa told me to? Why couldn't I announce to all the siblings I had found the gold? It's all because I'm so hideous. My evil heart, which sprouted from my desire to have all that gold for myself, caused you to hatch.
Looks like you really hate me, even though we're both born Ushiromiya.
Oh wait, let me try again. I'm gonna have to edit that out. God, I keep messing up. I'm sorry. Okay.
Looks like you really hate me, even though we're both Ushiromiya Eva.
No, that isn't true anymore. And it was you who said it. I am Ushiromiya Eva, and you are the Golden Witch Beatrice. So just disappear. Witches are imaginary, illusions that only exist in fairy tales. Things like you should just disappear. Never appear in front of me again.
Yeah, you're right. I understand. I'll disappear from in front of you. And I'm no longer Ushiromiya Eva. From now on, I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice. So now I can play however I want. I don't even care about you. If only you just give up and die.
After having a very childlike tantrum, the witch who had once been another Ava vanished. Only Ava was left behind in the darkness. She had questioned herself even. Me. I killed them. Did I kill that person? Did I kill him? She could no longer answer that question herself. It seemed that half asleep she'd gotten some saliva caught in her windpipe as she was dozing off. Ava suddenly started coughing. Are you okay, Ava? Please, Natsui, some water. Yes. I'm fine, okay. I just choked a bit. Ava pushed away Natsui's hand as she tried to rub her back, and unsteadily rose to her feet. I'm going to wash my face. Sorry I fell asleep. When I get back, I'll make some more coffee. Extra strong so I won't get drowsy until tomorrow morning. Yes, please do so. Your coffee's more to my taste than what Goden makes. I'm glad to hear that, even if it's flattery. I'll be back soon. Ava exited the lobby, headed for the bathroom. Cross and Natsui watched over her frail back. So you sometimes do show concern for Ava, even though you've always been at so much odds with her. Aw, they have a sweet moment. That's nice. I wish it lasted. Isn't that how an older brother's supposed to be? Yes, I believe you're right. It isn't just Ava. There's Rudolph and Rosa too. Instead of acting like an older brother to them, all I ever did was speak arrogantly and bully them. In my own way, I was frantic in my desire to be like father, but I could never match up and I always vented my feelings on them. But that is no excuse. I probably gave Ava scars so deep that they still have not healed. I regret it, but even if I apologize after all this time, that would do nothing to heal those wounds. That's not true! You guys should just speak to each other. You guys gotta reach out. Unfortunately, this isn't Higurashi no Naku Kuroni, so. If you can hold on to that feeling instead of just letting it last for this moment, I'm sure your siblings will come to see it sooner or later. Though by now, Ava is the only sibling I have left. If only you and your siblings hadn't been born to the Ushiromiya family, you might have had a much more fun sibling relationship. A normal one. You mustn't say that. Ava will probably continue to hate me for her whole life, and she has the right to. I intend to resign myself to that fact and accept it. Dear. No! No! Natsuhi's right! She's saying it right, Kraus. God damn it. Ava, I'm sorry. Of course you don't have to forgive me.
Of course I won't forgive you. What are you talking about after all this time? Oh, so now you're feeling guilty? If only you just give up and die right now! Do it, Chester sisters! "45 firing permission received. Reconfirming firing arc, correcting for weather discrepancies. Data linked to 410. 410, data received. Firing permission confirmed. Firing!
Together the sisters released a magical bowstring they had readied. A beautiful tail trailed behind the gold arrow, and it drew a lovely curve as it flew. It was just like a gold snake. It skillfully avoided a grove of trees and flew toward the front door of the guest house. It flew into the keyhole of the lock and snuck into the guest house without any problem at all. The gold snake raced down the hall smoothly, yet fast as an arrow. Right before it was the door to the lobby. When it flew into the keyhole, Kraus and Natsuhi were already. For an instant, Kraus thought he saw a gold-colored sparkle in the keyhole on the door. However, at the same time as he strained his eyes to see what it was, that beautiful sparkle bent like a whip and attacked, wrapping itself around Kraus's neck. Just looking at the gold snake seemed very supple. However, it was as though a wire had tightened around Kraus's neck. And while that snake choked Kraus, it extended even more and also tightened about Natsuhi's neck. Without even a chance to scream, their eyes bulged as they went into convulsions and then collapsed.
45 hit and kill confirmed.
My bad. Let's try that again.
45 hit and kill confirmed. Formulating towing curve, revisiting capture points.
I messed up. Okay, try again. Tea break. Okay.
45 hit and kill confirmed. Formulating towing curve, revising capture points. Data linked to 410. 410, data received. Initiating corpse towing. We got both of them, yeah.
The gold snake began to drag Kraus and Natsuhi's bodies back. They slipped through the door to the corridor, dragging the bodies, gradually increasing in speed. And rapidly pulled them outside the guest house. So the lobby was silent as though nothing had happened. As though Kraus and Natsuhi had not been there since the beginning. Only the sound of the wind and the rain remained as they were playing dumb and pretending to be the only ones there. Sorry, I'm fine now. I'll go make some coffee. Ava returned to the bathroom, from the bathroom. But no one was in the lobby. Even though they had supposedly been on that sofa until the moment she had choked and gone to the bathroom, they had gone as if they were an illusion from the very beginning. How careless of them. Where'd those two go off to together? Ava put her hand on the sofa as though acting out a scene from a detective novel. She felt a warmth that meant that they'd been sitting there until a short while ago. Maybe they went to do the rounds or something. For the time being, Ava sat down and waited for their return. Oh yes, feel concerned for your husband, but not for the other two. Suddenly, she's not worried. It's a shame, though. They just feel like it's too late to make up, and that's why they're so resigned. Beato and George could be seen in the parlor of the mansion. George was kneeling near Shannon's body as though praying. His face was serious. There was even a sweat on his forehead. However, Beato was the same. Now that she had handed her name over, most of her previous power had been lost. Of course, she still had more than enough power to be called a witch, but compared to the past, it was a very faint thing. Good. Don't talk to her. Don't touch her with your hand. Call to her with the voice of your heart, and seek her with the hand of your heart. Only your strong feelings can make my magic reach Shannon's lost soul. George kept praying earnestly and silently. He kept frantically yelling inside of his heart, trying to call back the soul of the person he loved. He strongly envisioned his soul leaving his body and searching for her as she wandered through the land of the dead. Beato turned that strong force into magical power that supplemented her own magic. This was magic in the past that she could have performed easily without anyone's help. But now, if she didn't rely on someone's assistance, she wouldn't be able to finish the chant, much less succeed. I'd forgotten for several centuries. Was magic, was resurrection always this difficult? Beato was wearing an even more strained expression than George. It had slipped her mind, but originally the magic to revive a life was the ultimate hidden art. The abnormal thing was her previous magical power, which could be used over and over with a snap of her fingers. So the heavy burden on her body and her mind was, fundamentally speaking, extremely natural. However, this man's power, even though he doesn't know magic, it's nothing to be laughed at. I see, so he truly is Kinzo's grandchild. The strong energy pouring from George was large enough to act as a magical power. At first, Beato thought it must be the blood of Kinzo the sorcerer. However, that probably wasn't it. She had a feeling that Balor had already told her what it was. It had been born from the power of George's sadness at the death of the person he loved, from the way he had tried his hardest throughout his life, from the warm time he spent together with Shannon to the size of the dream they swore to protect in the future. Is it really possible for humans to take life so seriously, even though they only have a single one? It was only natural. To her, a life didn't mean anything more than the difference between the top and the bottom of a Othello piece. If the black represented death, and she thought all you had to do was flip it over again and make it white. However, it was just like that broken vase. The humans in a world without magic, where they cannot return things to their original form. It is a very, very natural thing for them to bet their life and soul. So is an endless witch who can do as she pleases, even with life and death, inferior to a limited human who can't even surpass the mountain of death. This time, the witch acknowledged it. He was able to hold a magical power that could never reside in witches who couldn't understand the value of a life. Why does this thing called the endless magic exist? Even though I called myself the endless witch, did I forget what the endless magic means for 1,000 years? She looked at George's expression again. His surging earnestness was like a lightning bolt. Right now, even if George's body had been burned or smashed by a waterfall, he'd probably continue to pray for his beloved without minding it, without noticing it. For the first time, she showed respect for that power. So in that instant, all magical resistance was lost, and the enormous power of George's feelings turned into a magical energy in its complete form. The vase was a very beautiful, rich with history and value. Even as young as I was, it still forced me to take a deep breath when I witnessed its beauty, but that just made me want to touch it. But the vase easily fell and smashed into pieces. Like a bubble that had popped, it felt as though time had possessed a form that had just been an illusion. Lives are just that fragile, just that easily lost. I realized that my foolish curiosity had led to something that couldn't be undone. No matter how much I regret it, no matter how much I apologized, the smashed vase wouldn't return back to its original form. A lost life will not return to normal, no matter what happens. I was frightened that even though my actions had been thoughtless and careless, they had stolen away a life that could never be revived again. Then I pitied that lost life and cried. I was frightened of myself, the one responsible for its loss, and cried even more. I'm sure Grandfather will also cry at the loss of his precious vase. I'm sure that all the people who love Grandfather and see him like that will cry. With the loss of a single life, the whole world can be filled with so much sadness. I cried even more how terrible that was. Beatrice appeared and spoke. Then, milady, let us revive that vase of magic. If that will make everyone happy, the vase, the magic, and the spirits will happily lend you their power and return it to its original form. Come, milady, close your eyes and chant with me. Come, try closing your eyes, and try to remember. What form did you have? It was surely a very, very beautiful form. Please show me that form one more time. Those words of power knocked forcefully on the door to the land of the dead. The magic of her old self had performed that same forceful knock. However, doing it that way was horribly violent and earned the displeasure of the peacefully sleeping dead. But this time was different. It was very forceful, and yet gentle and loving. The dead near the door opened their eyes and called out to the others that there was a voice calling for someone to come back. The sadness of that voice calling from the outside touched the hearts of the dead. And trying to respond as quickly as possible, they searched for Shannon's lost soul. And then they found it. They found the casket in which Shannon was peacefully sleeping. It was truly Shannon's soul sleeping in the land of the dead. Inside the casket was covered with rose flowers frozen with frost. She was sleeping in peace. The dead silently lifted up that casket, and while at a glance it looked like a funeral march, it had the complete opposite meaning. It was solemn, but filled with joy. The long-forgotten dead were made to remember that they were loved after their deaths. They were all given a warm sense of peace, and as though guided by a warm light from the heavens, Shannon's body floated up out of the casket. The dead watched her go. They squinted at that warm light, offering their respect to this unknown member of the living who had not lost his love for a person even after their death. Shannon's body was enveloped in the light from the heavens and began to disappear. In the jet-black darkness of the land of the dead, the faint flickering of gold butterflies could be seen. It reminded them of the gentle stars in the night sky, which they had long forgotten. George remembered being told he must not say anything, and he hurriedly covered his mouth. However, it felt like his heart was trying to jump into his throat, because he had seen Shannon's eyelids shake slightly. Then, those eyelids slowly opened. Shannon's eyes were there, but they were still wrapped in the fog of the land of the dead. However, the human world's warmth, no, her lover's warmth, which had called back her soul, slowly dissolved that fog, and her eyes gradually regained their sparkle. Then her eyes moved and recognized George. George. As her lips shook weakly, Shannon definitely said that. The words were very faint, so much that they normally wouldn't have reached his ears. However, George clearly heard them. He heard the person he cared for, his fiancée, the one he loved the most, and who should have been dead, call his name once again. Shannon. Shannon. Do you know who I am? George. Is this a dream? No, this isn't a dream. Come on, see here. Even if I pinch you, you won't wake up. As George said that, he softly pinched Shannon's cheek. It was how George had always responded in the past when Shannon had been surprised by something and had asked if she was dreaming. When Shannon felt the warm touch of George's finger on her cheek, and when George realized that the warmth of the living had already returned to his beloved person's cheek, they both cried. What words should a pair of lovers separated by death celebrate when they are reunited? The words of the human world are not enough. In short, they had no need of words of this world. George simply hugged Shannon, who was sitting up without talking. Shannon's strength was still feeble, but putting her arms around George's back took all she had, so George hugged her tightly up to make up for that. To stop each other from going once more to a place the other's hand couldn't reach, they hugged each other so tightly, and yet so gently. As Shannon's fingers curled around George's back, on her ring finger, the engagement ring George had given her had definitely shone. That strong glint certainly wasn't the sparkle of just a diamond. It was definitely a magical power that only the two lovers could possibly feel. It was because of that strong light existed that they had been able to find her casket in the land of the dead. Beato understood. That ring, no. The feelings of the pair embodied in that ring were a miracle made real. In that moment, George definitely used magic. Beato had done nothing more than help him along. That magic had a power that could only reside in those who knew of the importance of life, who knew what it meant to try with all one's might. It was the power of a miracle, one that the endless witch couldn't possibly know of. A miracle that only the power of the finite could give rise to. By now, she had no choice but to accept it. She had to accept that true magic, true magical power, exists in the place furthest away from who she called herself a great witch. Beatrice, she brought you back to life. Thank you, Beatrice. No, I did nothing. What revived Shannon was your magical power. It was your magic. The Ushiromiya blood, which makes miracles come true, surely saw you through. George revived me. Indeed. It was an incredible display of magical power, one that I cannot hope to compete with. So, I am still nothing more than an apprentice, now that I finally know my place. Beato staggered backwards. Her physical strength was clearly exhausted. She had humbly said that George's power alone had revived Shannon, but Beato had also used all of her magical and physical strength. She reflected upon how difficult it was to revive a single life, something that she had been able to play around with however she wanted to in the past. The couple kept on embracing each other tightly. By doing that, those feelings couldn't be communicated with a billion words were shared. Thank you, Beatrice. We're in your debt. Thank you very much, Beatrice. I'll never forget the debt I owe you for bringing me to George again. Stop that. Stop that. Being thanked by a pair of lovers is far too embarrassing for one who has been feared as a monster of a person. Don't worry about me. Celebrate your reunion together. To the fullest.
Beato, who was leaning with her back against the wall, slid down the wall and sat. How many centuries had it been since she grew tired from using this magic?
I probably haven't been this tired since the time I first succeeded in magic. Didn't teacher praise me that time? Oh, but didn't I kill teacher, that same teacher who praised me? Don't be so naive, Beatrice. Isn't that what killing means?
Finally. It seems you finally remembered how to use magic.
My head feels parched and suffocated. I can't even remember. More importantly, didn't I kill you? You shouldn't be appearing.
You are still allowing me to live even now. That is why I can appear like this. However, I did not come to just pat your head.
Did you come to sneer how pathetic I am? Anyway, if I have my head patted by a retired witch after all that's happened, the other witches will laugh at me.
That's right. According to your bragging, you are not only a full adult, but a retired one. And yet, only now have you learned how to use magic. That certainly does sound too embarrassing to tell anyone.
Yeah, tell me about it. Keep it a secret, okay, teacher?
Beato gazed at the couple hugging each other with a sense of pleasant despondency.
Love, is it? I'm no match.
45 data received. Firing preparations concluded. Ammo type selected and loaded. 410 firing! The gold snake arrow fired by the chesters weaved its way through the gardens and weaved its way through the hedges and climbed the stone steps toward the mansion, aiming for the keyhole. It weaved through the corridors and flew the keyhole through the parlor. Oh, that was hard to read. Ah! It happened in an instant. One could hardly blame Beato, who was completely worn out, for not noticing beforehand. Oops. I think that scream was a little too whatever. Let's try that again. Ah! It happened in an instant. One could hardly blame Beato, who was completely worn out, for not noticing beforehand. Oh, wait. Maybe the right scream would have been, ah! Something like that. I don't know. No, I probably did it wrong again. Damn it. Right before Beato's eyes, the gold snake flew in through the keyhole, surrounded the two lovers, and pierced the two hearts in a blink of an eye. Furthermore, the gold snake faithfully pierced a hole through Shannon's chest once more. The two hearts were pierced by that gold snake. No, by that gold sewed thread of the new brutal witch's furniture. And it happened in an instant, mocking the amount of effort it had taken to revive Shannon. Yeah, the Wilhelm scream. The stock sound. Before Beato's shocked eyes, the two fell over and landed on the floor.
George! Shannon! Thank you, Beatrice, for letting us meet, even just for a short while. Thank you.
George spent his last breath thanking Beato, and died alongside the one he loved. The gold snake, which still sewed between the two in place, spun like a large cyclone revolving around the inside of the parlor. It was searching for further prey in that room. Then the tip of the snake met Beato's gaze. In that instant, Beato was prepared to die. At that moment, Virgilia stood in front of her, the fingers of both her hands drawing a seal. Instantly, gold butterfly... What the hell? Okay. Instantly, gold-colored gold leaf buried the inside of the parlor. It was like a blizzard of gold. Beato, run while you still can! No one can escape from the Chester sisters' golden bow! Okay. 410 target lost! Yeah! It's a magical sheaf! 45, roger that. Modifying search algorithm. Switching to anti-personnel image-based tracking. Target lock reacquired. Data link to 410. 410 data received. Too slow, predecessor. Coming, coming, coming! Impact!
Yeah. Prey targeted by the Chester sisters' golden bow did not escape. It could not be blocked. No magical barrier could even dream of blocking without being multi-layered. The gap opened during that instant of confusion caused by Vergilia's deception magic and was Beato's only chance to escape. It was only chance to make the sisters confuse Vergilia for Beato. As Vergilia spread her arms wide, blocking the way to her beloved disciple, the gold snake pierced through her heart. After sneaking in through the keyhole, the snake shot through George, Shannon, and Vergilia in an instant, completely failing to notice Beato as she used that instant to escape. A lot of this is ad-libbing. As soon as Vergilia saw that Beato had gotten away, she died. The strength left in her body like gold dust drifting with the wind. Her form was erased. Beato completely erased all traces of her magical power and became gold butterflies and passed through the wall, escaping to the wind and rain outside. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! You bitch! You bitch! Beato felt regret from the bottom of her heart. Why? Because she'd been attacked by the new witch? Probably not. Of course, she hated losing her teacher. And even more importantly, Beato was enraged at the barbarianism that had boorishly stolen away the reunion between two lovers. Beato poured out almost all of her magical power to reunite them, even though the result had been a miracle. The time it took to steal away had been so ridiculously short. Beato trembled at the barbarous cruelty that had brought out such an abrupt end. I feel like Avatrice could be Kid Boo. Because, like, regular Boo, I think, kind of gives me Lambda Delta-ish thing. I don't know. Because, like, Candy and, like... Well, I mean, they're both kind of Candy-ish, but... I just feel like Kid Boo is definitely a menace, for sure. Like, Avatrice is a menace, in a sense. I feel like Lambda Delta has some restraint. I'm not sure. But, I mean, as in character. When it comes to strength, okay, yeah. Lambda Delta is way more powerful. I mean, okay, whatever. I don't remember. It's been a long time. I don't remember what the human extinction attack is anymore. It's been a while. I haven't seen the Boo Saga since when I was like 9 or 12 or something. Besides, this was a true form of the act she herself had committed up until that point. So just as strongly as Beato hated the new witch, she also looked at her previous self with disgust. Was it when he turned everyone into candy like chocolate? But now she had to escape. If she was targeted next, she'd probably lose her life. To think that the chess player had descended, thinking they were like a god, only to be attacked by the pieces. "45 impact confirmed. Target scattered. Without a doubt, we crushed the predecessor."
Looks like our pile of kill medals is gonna get bigger again, yeah? What was that about loving couples? You get to enjoy tearing the two apart by death, reuniting them and tearing them apart again, right?
Oh. I don't remember. It's been a while. Yeah. Like I said, it's been a long time since I have seen that part.
And along with that, I get to say goodbye to that damn fussy old hag. Renove, you don't have any complaints, right?
I do not, Beatrice.
That person interfered with the ceremony of the witch's epitaph, you see. She revived a sacrifice on the first twilight without permission, obstructing my ceremony. She's got no right at all to complain. But it sucks that she didn't leave a corpse behind. And I thought I'd be able to torture that old hag to death over and over again endlessly.
Renobe's like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Every look in his face, every time. He's like, what the fuck? George did. No, I didn't see him. When did he come down? When did you say? What hour was that again? I think it was probably around 4 or 5. At the very least, it was more than an hour ago. We got sleepy and probably dozed off after that. But I think it's probably like Jessica says, about 1 or 2 hours ago. I also remember something from around that time. I was asked I wanted more coffee. Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently, when Aunt Ava had left for a second to wash her hands, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuki had disappeared. There's no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked and were all locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't just true for the first floor, the second floor was the same. Again, all the doors and windows were locked, had built in a way it made it impossible to lock from the outside. In other words, there was no way Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuki had gone outside, and yet they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared, so had George of all people. George had left saying that he was going to get more coffee, and had gone downstairs for more than an hour earlier. We assumed that he was having a conversation with Aunt Ava and the rest, but Aunt Ava, who had been in the lobby the whole time, said that no one had come down. Since all the doors and windows were locked from the inside, it was unthinkable that it had gone outside. However, 3 humans have evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfect closed room. In a situation like this, we couldn't imagine this was because they were all playing hide and seek and trying to scare us with a prank. It was probably reasonable to assume they'd been caught up in this crime. But Aunt Ava had learned that her only son was missing. She had gone half insane, running to room in room, yelling his name. And Jessica, who had suddenly lost both of her parents, had chased after her. Cries of George, George, and Mom and Dad continued to echo throughout the guest house for some time. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's dead face. It'd be reasonable to assume that he snuck out of the guest house and went to the mansion. But I didn't have a clue about Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsuki. Did they see him leave and go to the mansion to search for him? Without even telling Aunt Ava? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we start planning to leave the guest house to go search for them. When that time comes, I'll agree. We thought staying holed up in the guest house would be safe, which is why our big happy group of 12 people locked themselves up here this morning. And yet, now there's only 4 of us left. That means staying here is no longer a guarantee of safety. However, there's one thing we can't afford to forget. All the doors and windows were locked from the inside. This is a closed room. How did they manage to vanish from this place? Damn, I should, whenever I go back to rereading the Dragon Ball manga, when I don't have it on, like, hiatus, I should try to combine 2 of the things that I remember I was, like, really, really focused on Dragon Ball, like, from when I was, like, 5 to, I think about 9 when I started getting into Naruto, and then I can combine with Umineko. Woo! I'll combine my 2 favorite things together, and it'll be making a homunculus thingy, like that one snake thingy. It'll be full circle, baby. That was so stupid. I'm sorry I said it like that. Okay. My jokes are so dumb. Anyway, we searched around thoroughly. However, we couldn't find any traces of someone hiding. The 3 of them had almost certainly been taken outside the guest house. I wonder how it was done. You don't think there might be something like that, like a hidden door? A hidden door? The doors and the windows were built in a way that makes them impossible to lock from the outside. Even using a fishing line, it would be impossible with the way that they've been constructed. It may be reasonable to assume they left via some other than a door or window. You're right. That does make logical sense. No one can be sure that no hidden doors exist. However, before leaping to that conclusion, I suspect a much simpler possibility. And what would that be? For some time, Balor had been opening the windows, opening shutters, and checking outside. Repeating this for each window. This window's pretty quiet. I see. Unlike the other windows, because how the building's shaped, the wind doesn't blow into this one. It appears that way. It feels strange that no window of rain comes in, even though there's so much of it outside. Dr. Nanjo, when I opened the window just now, did you hear a sound? Huh? No, I did not notice it. I believe it is well oiled. In other words, it's possible to slink through a window in the hallway when no one's looking. Furthermore, the wind doesn't blow in through this window, so the air pressure wouldn't cause the curtains or a door to make a sound. It'd be quiet. Balor leaned forward and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had jumped down, but at a glance, he didn't see any marks like on the grass in the middle of the pouring rain. There might also be a window like this on the first floor. It'd be possible to go outside without anyone noticing. However, not only the doors, the windows too are all locked, and the shutters are even down as well, correct? It may be possible to go out through them, but you couldn't lock them afterward. Sure, you can lock them, just like this. Balor closed the window and locked it, as though this was perfectly obvious. But Balor, you aren't saying... If someone inside locked it afterwards, this closed room is easy as pie. But that means... Oh... Nanjo turned pale and shook his head several times, because the thing Balor had said had forced him to face a fact that was even frightening to imagine. That's only if the trick I'm thinking of actually happened, okay? However, with this trick, only a very limited number of people can be suspected. He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, but after eliminating Jessica, who had been with him the whole time, only Nanjo and Ava could have done it. I did nothing of that sort. Yes, I swear it. In this case, it becomes a battle between Aunt Ava and Dr. Nanjo for an alibi. We just have to suspect both of you and confine the two of you separately. To say it the other way around, the more survivors there are, the more effective this trick might be. But since our numbers have shrunk so much, it isn't effective at all. No, on the contrary, there'd be a chance of having your own neck strangled by using it. It would have been much more advantageous to make it look like the culprit was outside, to intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window. If this disappearance drama had taken place midday today, I'd be able to claim this theory with full confidence. However, at this stage, I'm not confident at all. What's going on here? What in the world does it mean? This closed room. You don't think I'm... What is it, Dr. Nanjo? Even if it's just a thought, please say it. Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words, even though he thought of something, so I urged him on. After Dr. Nanjo refused several times, saying that it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud. Well, don't you think this might actually be the work of a witch? Ridiculous! There's no way witches exist! The witch is trying to make her case to us, specifically because she's doing things that humans cannot do. She must be trying to make us accept her as a new witch. To me, this disappearance from the closed room of the entire guest house feels like that of a message from the witch. It's something that I must not think of. Surely it cannot mean anything. Oh, I am frightened. As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear, it looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining, one after another. When we went down the stairs, Aunt Ava and Jessica were enraged, and each were persistent in their desire to leave this place and search for their respective families. It was a desire that naturally hits those who could no longer see their family. Aunt Ava told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking. I've been shut up inside for a long time already. I started wanting to breathe some outside air. Yeah, if we're going, let's go quickly. There's no way I'm going to keep myself shut up in a place like this anymore. Let's go and find Mom and Dad and George right now. The blood had all risen to Jessica's head. I hope it doesn't set her off her asthma. If anyone wants to stay, go ahead and stay. We'll be searching outside. What about you, Dr. Nanjo? Will you watch the place by yourself? No, allow me to join you. Rather than holding up alone in a guest house where security was by no means guaranteed, it'd be better to enter a danger zone as a group of 4 people. Aunt Ava had a gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made into the next victim. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I need to refresh my Dragon Ball memories, perhaps. One day. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. Even though it should have been safe to barricade ourselves here, we lost 8 people after doing so. It was almost as though this was a holding cell from which the sacrifices could be killed one after another. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door, and opened it. It was already pitch black. While there was still some lights outside the dimly lit pathway, they didn't have enough power to pierce the darkness that some suspicious person might be hiding in. I'm going. If you fall behind, you're on your own, okay? Still holding her gun, Aunt Ava dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed after her. After glancing at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. What in the world is happening in this mansion on this island? I've just been shut up in a guest house with the rest of the cousins since yesterday, so I don't know anything about what's going on outside. Just what is happening that I don't know about? Outside this room in the mansion on this island. Everything is happening. Everything is proceeding. And everything is ending without my knowing it. Somewhere in my heart, I've already started giving up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. When the seagulls cry, nobody will be left alive. Uh-oh. All right. We will cry tomorrow. I'm not crying today. I mean, I already did that with George's scene thing. And he's dead. Alright, let's see. Let's read the tips. Ushirimiya Hideyoshi died in the hall of the mansion, his chest pierced by a stake-shaped weapon. That was careless of me. Didn't think you were still alive. That is true. Ushirimiya Rudolph died in the hall of the mansion with his forehead pierced by the weapon shaped like a stake. Apparently, they gotta be finished off with stakes from here on out. Gross. Ushirimiya Kirie died in the hall of the mansion, her stomach pierced by a stake-shaped weapon. The stomach isn't particularly lethal spot. Still, isn't enough to just kill her in some other, easier way and stick a stake in her corpse. Okay. Any tips? Nope. Alright. We will get to when they crying tomorrow. I wonder. I think the story is about to reach its climax pretty soon. I might finish it tomorrow. Hopefully it won't take that long. But I don't know. I just have a feeling. Because of everything. Hopefully I'll be able to finish all in one sitting. Anyway. Yes, good night. Bye-bye.